The biggest enemy isn't the challenge. It's that voice saying, you'll fail anyway. After today, that voice won't stand a chance. Listen to me, people will call you crazy, unrealistic, or delusional right up until the day you make it happen. And the moment you pull it off, those same folks will swear they always believed in you. See, the problem isn't your dream. The problem is how impossible it looks before you take the first swing. Today, we're going to talk about flipping that script. You know what really happens when people say something is impossible? It's not the task that's too big. It's the fear that's standing in front of it, making it look 10 times taller. Fear is a damn magician. It puts a filter on your vision, blows things out of proportion, and convinces you that trying is a waste of time. And most folks don't even realize it's fear talking. They think it's logic, timing, responsibility, survival. But the truth is, fear doesn't warn you, it limits you. Think about it. The first time somebody wanted to fly, folks laughed at them, not because the sky was impossible to reach, but because fear had already convinced everybody that falling was the only outcome. The Wright brothers didn't beat gravity first, they beat fear. The first person who started a business in their family wasn't fighting the market. They were fighting that voice that said, what if you fail and everyone sees? The guy who steps on stage to speak for the first time isn't battling the microphone. He's battling the thought that people will judge him. Fear lives in the future. It paints the worst scenario and hands it to you like it's the only one. You start thinking about embarrassment before effort, failure before action, pain before action, before possibility. That's how dreams die before they even get a chance to breathe. And people don't even call it fear. They dress it up. They say, I'm being realistic, or it's not the right time, or what if it doesn't work? Nobody ever asks, what if it does? Have you ever noticed how when you finally do something, it suddenly stops looking scary? The hill that looked like a mountain when you stood at the bottom turns into a small bump once you're on the other side. That tells you something right there. The size of the problem isn't what stops you. The size of your fear is. And fear doesn't show up to protect you. It shows up to keep you exactly where you are. It doesn't care about your dream, your family, your future, or your legacy. It only cares about feeling safe right now. Have you ever noticed how silence only lasts until you make a move? People have a lot to say when you're dreaming out loud but haven't done anything yet. They'll question you, doubt you, warn you, remind you of every failure they've seen or heard about. They don't do it because they know the outcome. They do it because nothing shuts doubt up faster than action. The second you start moving, the conversation changes. Execution is the only language that haters, doubters, and spectators understand. Before you do it, everybody's got an opinion. They'll say you're thinking too big, moving too fast, aiming too high. They'll tell you stories about people who tried and failed, as if failure is a permanent stain. But the moment you take that step, they start running out of breath. Because now, it's not just talk anymore. You've entered the arena, and once you're in the arena, they can't treat you like a spectator. Let me tell you something about doubt. It feeds on inactivity. As long as you're planning, thinking, talking, dreaming, doubt is alive and comfortable. The day you act, doubt starts panicking. People don't expect you to follow through. They expect you to stay where they are, doing what they do, believing what they believe. The moment you move differently, they don't know how to respond. That's why when someone finally starts the business, writes the book, steps on stage, switches careers, moves to another city, or walks away from the excuses, the mood shifts. Execution doesn't just change what people say, it changes what they're allowed to say. When you're only talking about your dream, they can cancel it with a sentence. When you start chasing it, they can't cancel anything, they just gotta watch. You don't even have to be at the finish line. The fact that you got up and moved is enough to change the temperature in the room. You start something and suddenly people who never supported you go quiet. Folks who thought they knew your limits get confused. The ones who laughed start listening. Have you ever noticed how people catch memory loss the moment you succeed? Before you make it, they remember every doubt they had about you. They remember telling you it wouldn't work. They remember asking you, are you sure? They remember laughing, warning, advising you to stay safe. But the second you pull it off, suddenly everybody has amnesia. Now they're talking about how they always knew you had it, how they saw the potential from day one, how they weren't surprised at all. Success doesn't just change your life. It rewrites everybody else's memory. People hate being on the wrong side of the prediction. They don't want to look like the one who doubted the person who made it happen. So what do? They flip the script. They start acting like they were cheering for you the whole time, like they were in the front row with a foam finger and a T-shirt with your name on it. They want to be associated with success, no doubt, because nobody wants to explain why they didn't believe in you when you were climbing. They only want to be seen standing next to you when you reach the top. And it's not just strangers. Friends do it, family does it, coworkers do it. When you were planning, they were quiet. When you were struggling, they were distant. When you needed a little belief, they disappeared. But when your idea starts working, when the money comes in, when people start paying attention, that's when the rewrites start. Now they're telling stories that never happened. I always said he was going to do something big. I told her she was different. I knew from the jump he was going to make it. They rewrite history to protect their ego. You know why they do that? Because proof is louder than memory. Once you succeed, the old version of you doesn't exist to them anymore. The one they doubted is gone. Now they got to pretend they recognized the new version all along. They don't want to be seen as the person who said you couldn't. They want to be seen as the genius who spotted the champion before everyone else. They don't want to admit they were scared for you or jealous of you or too small-minded to understand your vision. They just want to attach themselves to the finished product and act like they were part of the blueprint. People love to hear themselves talk until action shows up in the room. You can explain your dream to them 100 different ways, break it down step by step, tell them the plan, the vision, the intention, and they'll still raise an eyebrow. They don't believe words, they believe results. You can't convince people with explanations, you convince them with execution. You don't have to defend your dream when your work is speaking for you. Have you ever tried telling somebody what you're about to do and they give you that half smile like you're stretching too far. They don't say it directly, but you can hear it in their tone. Let's see how long that lasts. They'll wait for you to slow down, mess up, or quit just so they can feel right about doubting you. But the moment results start showing up, even small ones, they go quiet. Because now it's not your opinion versus theirs. Now it's you stacking proof and them running out of things to say. That's the thing about results. They don't need a presentation. They don't need a TED Talk. They don't need approval from the audience. When you show up consistently, when you post the work, when you build the thing, when you launch the brand, when you improve your skills, people stop questioning the idea and start adjusting to the reality. They might not clap, but they'll notice. They might not comment, but they'll watch. They might not like you, but they'll respect what you've done. Talking is cheap because it's free. Results cost time, sweat, sacrifice, late nights, early mornings, rejection, embarrassment, and courage. That's why people respect action more than explanation. Most of them don't have the guts to execute on their own life. So when they see someone doing it, it shuts them up real fast. You don't need to answer critics when your work already proved them wrong. They'll spend more time trying to figure out how you did it than asking why you started. They don't want to admit they were wrong, so they pretend they didn't doubt you in the first place. Meanwhile, you're already on the next level, planning the next move, and stacking more proof while they're still trying to rewrite the conversation. You know what all of this comes down to. The world only respects what's real, not what's discussed. Nobody remembers the fear you felt, the doubt you heard, or the opinions people threw at you. They only remember the moment you did what they swore couldn't be done. The fear that made it look impossible, the voices that tried to shake you, the people who switched sides after you won, the ones who waited for proof before they believed. All of that fades the second you take action. You don't owe anybody an explanation for your vision. You don't have to beg for belief, convince doubters, or wait for approval. Your job isn't to make them understand. It's to make a move. Once you do it, everything changes. Conversations change, tone changes, memory changes, respect shows up, and suddenly the same thing that looked impossible starts looking obvious to everybody else. They'll act like they saw it coming. They'll pretend they were cheering all along. But you'll know the truth. Nothing changed except action. You didn't need permission, applause, or agreement. You just needed to start. And the moment you did, the impossible lost its power.